Astaghfirullah. Give me a minute.
Okay.
Because that's the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
You said he would split your husband. Your daughters, like a banana, your daughters believed you. You called this man your spiritual guide and leader, and you agree to everything else that is said about him in that manner. You agree to all of it. Without any doubt.
No doubts.
Without any inclination, like without any type of discernment. And you think that this is nice. Well, this is Iblisi. Well, that's why. The animosity that you've built in your heart towards your own flesh and blood. But what's more important is towards Al-Islam. Towards the authority that Jalla Jalaluhu gave the right and the trust to each one of us. You've breached that by far.
Strictly against Allah's word.
But you've broken it by far. You've taken what is clear. When I ask my daughter, what do you know of your father doing in order to feed, clothe, support all of the years that you've been alive?
That's a good, yeah, that's.
You know what she has to answer? Quran teacher. Only if she knew how much more, but I had to let her know Quran practitioner now. I used to start off just reading, writing, tutoring like this, but by now, and this was way before you were born, by now, we're in the ijtihad section. Yes. However, let's say it was only the first 5 years. This is all that you knew. This is all that you had. But in this case, you are adults now. You call yourselves Muslimin. You are adults now. How is it that you can abandon the education, the miracle of the Quran? Your mother was met through the Quran.
Astaghfirullah.
Astaghfirullah, 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 the people. And you go for what you don't know, who you don't know. I've been following this man fall on the radar. The Jamaat fell on the radar back in 1999. This was prior to 9/11. Neither of you were even born at that time. What exact, and being as a Quran teacher on the land for the years that I was there, subsequent to, prior and subsequent to even those years. What exactly can you tell me about this, this deceased? I feel bad for him.
So you've been on the fence about this whole situation from a long time ago.
Absolutely. I mean, just listen to Director of Secret Affairs of the Hafiz School, Ali Ahmed ibn Abdul Haqq. He will admit that the first time it was made clear to him that this had to be fraud was back in 2012, 2013. Just listen to it.
Ibn Abdul Haqq.
Yes.
Right.
He was the Director of Secret Affairs at the Hafiz School on his father's. Yeah.
Okay.
It was made clear to him in a video where this man is trying to explain Surah Ra'd. I will never forget it. We looked at the video together. He was absolutely guilty. He was trying to fabricate, information, and he managed to actually get this fabricated, baseless information out to the masses. They were taking advantage of him. But this particular one was done even before 2008, if I'm not mistaken. It was on a CD. It was on a CD. But because of the fact that your own son is saying that there was no such thing. He just looked up his ancestors and decided to start his own thing.
Oh, wow.
His own son says that. When will my own child come and tell me that I'm the one who made a Quran? When? Never. By Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, not a single one of my siblings will ever come to me and tell me I made up the Quran. If that's the case, I'll tell them you are kafir. But this man, in what he was dishing out, and the wife that took it over, because when you have a scheme, the one at the top, they'll be stealing. Those at the bottom, they're going to be stealing too. So as the son admitted, he said it, they would rack up $50,000 in a month in US, take it over there, give him $5,000 and keep the 45.
Wow. He said that out of his own mouth.
Out of his own, and then he proves it even further to say that all the properties from 2008 or 9, if I'm not mistaken,
2008.
Yeah, were all in her name.
Yeah.
Come on now, the Adams family. The Adams family, come on now.
It's nothing we didn't already know, but it's just different to hear it actually come
No,
from
it's the fact that he clarified it.
Right.
You know, beyond any doubt that this is what it was. That this is really what it was. Now again, I want to ask. You are breaching the right of Muslims. You don't even talk to your younger siblings. You've met them, but you don't talk to them. Your father's family, or your family on your father's side, you've bewitched them. Because your great-grandmother died, you met her, she even added you into her will, into her dying will, but you did not even make it to her deathbed. And all your mother has to say is that your father should have developed a better relationship between you.
Who are you speaking of right now?
I'm speaking of the kiddo. Both of them. Yes. This is very spiritual. Just think about it. You claim to be a Muslim. You claim to be following the example of the Nabiullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Yeah? And his family. This is what you claim. But you do not visit the sick. You cut off ties of friendship, of kinship. You lie. You fabricate stories to substantiate what it is that you think your Jamaat would like to hear. This is very clear. You fabricate stories to justify whatever anger is going on. This is hypocrisy. وَإِذَا خَاصَمَ فَجَرَ.
Yes.
When you're told to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, you get frustrated. You say, I don't want to talk about this. This is what Allah subhanahu, yeah.
Isn't that crazy though?
This is the level of your spiritualism. This man, I mean, when I brought this to the brother I had been talking to, I don't want to mention any names.
Okay, that's fine.
But when I brought this to him, he said, yeah, I've noticed a lot of animosity coming from my son too, brother, but you got to show him a lot of love and be patient with them. I said to him, brother, I believe that. However, you got to be just about it. When they're in foolishness, falsehood, you have to be firm and strive. And you have to know what these two are. You have to know what it means to be absolutely just. You have to know what the elements of justice are. You have to know what striving is and what the elements of striving are. And you people have literally forgotten all about those. Tawheed, Aqidah, all of these long gone. Been following, the mushrikeen and the kuffar and the Yahud and the Nasara all these decades. That's why all the lands, all of the prestige and honor and all of this from the Muslimin are gone. And just a few countries running the whole show in the world. Because the discipline of Islam is not being applied.
It's really not.
It's not being applied. The people are not considering the torment of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, which they justify themselves from their own deeds and from their own words.
Right.
I have to now call my grandchildren bastards. Do you think that is something I was looking forward to? Do you think that every day when I remember that my daughters left in the manner of running off and getting married through this Jilanislam mess with their pimp uncle and whoever else was there without getting the consent of their father. Do you think that I was saying to myself, yeah, I definitely look forward to their own deeds.
A cursed, is it a cursed marriage?
Well, see, that's the thing. You got to understand exactly what it is. They're just fornicating.
So that's cursed.
They're increasing their sins. They're increasing their place in the Jahannam. They're increasing it. Every last one of them. Everybody who's involved, directly or indirectly, as long as they catch wind of it and understand that the father absolutely had no consent, did not give his consent on this, yet they even show any liking of it, by Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, is all a curse. All of it, every last bit of it. There's not a single inch of it that's less without a curse. Every single day I wake up and I go through, okay, subhanallah, this is another thought that has come. Yep, subhanallah, they cursed again.
May Allah please help them, man.
Well, the problem is that as long as there are persistence in holding on to falsehood, whoever does not benefit from the truth will be harmed by falsehood. It's that simple. As long as there is that, the justice of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu is definitely upon them. Definitely. And they're not bringing justice upon themselves. So when Allah Jalla Jalaluhu's justice gets here, they realize that. When they meet up with it, they will understand. But again, just going to, reflect on the spiritual concept, you actually believe that there is a man, you are Muslim, your father's a Muslim. He has been there for you from the delivery room. Prior to that, he named you. He had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala selected the name and gave it to him for you. You prayed behind your father before you were even born. How? You were pregnant. Your mother was pregnant with you. When you were born, your father gave you the name. Your father was there for your calling of the adhan in the right ear and the iqamah in the left ear. Your father slept with you, fed you, bathed you, wiped your tail, made sure you were secure. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu gave him that ability. What is more spiritual than that? Particularly because you cannot say you were not taught the education of Allah, which is the Quran, the one he gave to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And how many of your community members will attest to exactly the same thing, which is the truth, the entire truth? Because we told the Khalifa on the land, we said to him, he said, we have Shah Sahib. We've had him for over 30 years. You just came on deck. He had been there himself just for a few years. He hadn't been there that long.
It's not a knowledge thing. It's not a knowledge-based thing.
No.
It's much more than that. They believe he was just something special. And that's kind of what his son was talking about. He put his father on a human level, and that's something that they're not even willing to do.
Well, the problem is that Shaitan, Iblis, encourage this thing. Makes it seem far-sighted. Everybody has to have a clique around here or else. So, they really fall for that. However, they met up with the right time and the right situation, the Quranic Revolution 2021, and this is when the man, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu seized him. And until the day the Suleimani Brigade said that they were there cursing him as he was on his way out. They made video on it. Yeah, because the problem is that these girls, this whole situation with this woman got out of hand, especially when he no longer had, from 2011, after that greatest miracle is when things really started going way south, sour. You know, because these girls also, they changed stand. But the first one changed for the longest time, the older one, older Giro. And then the younger Giro came much later. She came like in 2020 or 2019. She decided to turn on her father. And I'm like, all these years you've been fine. We went through, listen, all these years we went fine. We've taken some trips here. We've gone through Eid and everything. So now why you want to change? Because you don't like my community and I want to get married with my community. When it's time for me to get married. I'm not saying I'm ready, but when it's time. Whole time she was hiding. Whole time she was infringing.
Right.
Obviously. Right?
Yeah.
So the bottom line, you know, when it comes down to it, as I told the mother, this is a right that Allah Jalla Jalaluhu entrusted to me. Do you really think I am worried about what you do with it? How you deal with the right Allah Jalla Jalaluhu gave to me when I know He's going to ask you why you did it? So I am good. And now the situation is, you know, it is what it is.
So that's what's your take on Abdurrahman? Like, have you spoken?
Well, you know, see, it was always understood that the other Giddo would move before the Gid. It was always understood, and that's why when the other Giddo made her move, the operation was already in motion. The curse would be, you know, substantiable. And for anyone who came to her aid at that point, her elder sister came to her aid first. And as she came to her aid, she was blocked. You know, we blocked her right away and we told her, this is your curse too. Because those who aid evil are evil themselves. There's no way you can turn a blind eye to evil and say, I'm still a nice person. That doesn't make any sense. So, you know, whatever it is that they're doing now is going to, you know, marinate. And we're thanking Allah Jalla Jalaluhu for giving us the ability, the wisdom, you know, the understanding, the knowledge, the capacity, you know, the endowment, the dignity and the honor of being involved, mashallah, fa tabarakallah. You know, we're able to definitely gain so much from the reward and the bounties of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu as a result of this. Wallahi, wallahi, wallahi. Now for them, unfortunately, they will have to be satisfied with what they get. As Jalla Jalaluhu says, Kullu hizbin bima ladayhim farihun. You know, to everyone will be satisfied with what they get. So we will see who is right and who is wrong.
Right.
Well, inshallah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here, man, you know.